Welcome to Newmarket Vox. I'm Mark Nov-Thomas. Newmarket is New Zealand's fashion, retail, entertainment, hospitality and business mecca. Newmarket Vox is a monthly podcast where we take a deep dive into the brains of a business leader. Make sure you're following us at Newmarket NZ on your favourite social media platform and stay tuned after the interview for some updates on what's happening in the precinct.
Once I realised you could have an idea and make it into reality, that's kind of an intoxicating feeling. Everything we do is core to the business. Everything is at the heart. Nothing is less than or outside or a last minute thing. I'll keep doing it as long as I'm having fun. And I guess I'm still having fun.
Her fashion designing career began in 1989 and several years later opened up her first retail store right here in Newmarket. She once said that when she opened that store, the trees in the street had just been planted. And like those trees, her brand took root and grew strongly. So strongly, in fact, wearers of her clothes have included Lorde, Michelle Obama, Rihanna, Lady Gaga and Adele, just to name a few. She's gone on to become an international fashion powerhouse, and you don't need to look far to hear people talk about the influence she's had on their careers. A Newmarket legend and a New Zealand icon. I am, of course, talking about Karen Walker.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome.
So in these podcasts, we basically ask a whole bunch of random questions, and please feel free to give as much information as you wish to. To start off Roger that. So to start off with, where did you grow up and what was your childhood like? Talk about your very early years.
I grew up about 1 kilometre from here in Remuera.
Yeah.
I lived there till I was 21. Went to Epsom Girls Grammar, just up the road. This was, in fact, I used to catch the bus home, walk down Broadway and then catch the bus from the corner of Remuera Road and Broadway. It was the 603 or the 605.
Yeah.
There was like a takeaway bar there. There was a photo shop. I can't remember what else was there. It was way before the train station was built. So that's where I used to be at 3:25, Monday to Friday.
I love that.
Mid-80s. And, so this is my stomping ground.
It's funny you mentioned the train station. I saw a photograph last week, actually, of the days before the train station. I remember when there was a car park out the back, I used to drive down. It was all, anyway, that's by the by. So when you were growing up, where did you sort of go for your summer holidays and things like that?
Some holidays were in the backyard. We had a large leafy backyard with a nice pool and a pretty setting. So we would holiday there and maybe take the boat out every now and then. I mean, I sound like a trust fund kid, but it wasn't. It was just very middle class. So that was holidays through the summer. It was gorgeous, and just the smell of chlorine on my skin and barbecue and the sound of the cricket on the transistor radio. And all of that just takes me right back to that moment. We would, during the year we'd holiday. We'd usually have like a trip abroad, sometime in the May or the August school holidays.
Okay,
but summers were always at home.
When you think back to your childhood, were there any signs back then that you were going to be drawn into the fashion world?
My mother had a Benina sewing machine. It might have been a wedding present.
Yeah.
And she would make clothes for herself.
Yeah.
She was born in 1935, I think. So, that was a time when every household had a sewing machine.
Yeah, yeah.
My grandmother had a treadle sewing machine. So, that was just kind of in the landscape. People sewed, people made their own clothes.
Yeah.
And there was always a box of fabric folded up in the bottom cupboard somewhere. And so my rainy Sunday afternoons ended up being making clothes for Barbie.
Fantastic.
And, if there'd been a Super 8 film camera or a box of paints or something, it might have been something else.
Yeah.
But that was my rainy Sunday afternoon. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And fell in love with with once I realised you could have an idea and make it into reality. That's kind of an intoxicating feeling.
So it planted a seed and you just ran with it.
Yeah.
So back in 1989, many great things happened. So Madonna's Like a Prayer was number one for a large part of the year.
Yes.
The Proclaimers' iconic I'm Gonna Be Walk 500 Miles also was number one for a few months of that year. And that was the year that the Karen Walker label entered the market. So what was it like for you to put yourself and your name out there?
We were just having fun. There wasn't a lot at stake. It was a startup. We were having some kicks. We were enjoying ourselves. We had something to say, and we had a way of saying it that we didn't think other people were doing. We thought we were filling a gap, but mostly it was just about having fun and expressing ourselves.
Yeah. Was it always going to be Karen Walker?
Yes, there was some conversation around should it be something else, and could also remember at the beginning I didn't know it was going to be like this now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, what does it feel like? It's good right now. It wasn't like planning 40 years out. But there was some discussion about it. In the end, we settled on that because people's names, yes, there are fashions in names, but not as much as in other made up names of businesses. Then you really, if it feels a style of naming a business. At that time there were lots of Z's and X's and Q's in words for some reason. Now it's like, I don't know, no vowels, because it's the only way you can own a website or an Instagram, because everything else is taken. Yeah. So fashion is much more visible and time is much more marked. If you make something up, you just use your own name. Yeah, of course, names come in and out. But it's not the same as if you make something up.
Going back though, so when you didn't think, you didn't know, you couldn't have known what was going to happen. What was going to happen with the business? What did you think could have been an outcome by starting your own thing? Did you think, I'll just have this little thing going for a while and see what happens, or did you think?
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I'll keep doing it as long as I'm having fun, and I guess I'm still having fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good you're still having fun. Yeah. So actually, incidentally, in August 1993, when you opened in Newmarket, MC Hammer's You Can't Touch This was number one.
I remember talking about that with somebody while we were doing the fit out.
Did you ever have MC Hammer pants?
No, never. Did you?
No.
I bet you did. I bet you did.
I did have the Kung Fu shoes, though, the black Kung Fu shoes. They were a big thing in the 80s. Now, opening on the corner of Balm and Nuffield Street back in those days would have been quite a punt. So there was a KFC up the road. There was a hospital laundry across the road. Did people think you were mad? What drew you to the site?
Oh, I suppose they thought probably yes. I do remember one woman coming in after we opened and looking at the concrete floor and saying, when are you going to finish the floor? I said, it's done.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That would have been quite a breakthrough moment, though.
Yeah, just having a concrete floor. Like, God, isn't that weird to think that was weird?
And it's the height of bouginess now, the concrete floor.
Yeah. And we've got a really nice concrete floor because it's original, like 30, how old's the building? 20s, 30s?
Yeah.
So it's that nice, just really smooth concrete.
Before you took the site, what was it before you took over?
I'm pretty sure it was the hospital laundry, the whole building.
Okay.
Not 100% sure, but it wasn't retail.
Well, no, there was no retail there then, was there? Yeah, it was all quite semi-industrial around there.
And that's what we liked about the space. Semi-industrial, close to where the traditional traffic was, but, a strong building, really great bones. And, we like a high ceiling and a corner.
Yeah.
And, you can like the same in our Britomart store. It's a dominating presence. And when you come down from Remuera Road, it really dominates that corner. And so, we don't hold back on our window displays and our decals and our graphics. So we don't want to muck around with a little sort of postage stamp window. If we're doing a window, we want it to be 10 feet tall.
You're there for a reason.
So that's what we always really liked about that space and why we're there, still there 36 years later, that it's strong, it says something, it allows us to really tell a story in a big way, and to kind of dominate the landscape in a way, you know what I mean? So when you come down that road, it's like,
make a statement.
Yeah, and now, when you come out of the car park, you're just facing straight into our windows as well. So those, our windows are billboards.
It works really well, yeah. And having KFC up the road.
Oh, that was lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner every day, wasn't it?
So you've worked with your husband Mikhail for many, many years.
Since day dot.
So when you look at sort of both of you in the business, what are your sort of strengths and weaknesses?
That's easy. He creates chaos out of order and I create order out of chaos.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That's perfect. You've done many extras and add-ons over the years with accessories, etc. What has been the most favourite thing that you've done?
They're not extras and add-ons. Everything we do is core to the business. Everything is at the heart. Nothing is less than or outside or a last minute thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is important, whether it's a dog collar for Christmas or a collab with Acme mugs or a jigsaw puzzle or a $30,000 gold necklace. Everything is important and held up on a pedestal and worshipped by the team. And nothing is less than or less important than.
I love that. That's amazing. What has been one of the worst fashion clothing item investments you've ever made?
I cleaned up my wardrobe a couple of years ago. My wardrobe's on pretty high rotate because I'm in the biz, so I get to wear the samples, right? So actually I don't have a huge wardrobe because I'm just rotating things out. But I cleaned out the top shelf, which held all my shoes. And there was a ridiculous amount of high heels. And there's no market for secondhand high heels now.
Is there? Is there not? Okay.
No. And I mean, not, we're talking nice stuff.
Yeah, we're not talking the kung fu shoes that I was wearing in the 80s.
With the high-heeled kung fu shoes. No, we're talking, a bit of Yves Saint Laurent, a bit of Prada. Nobody's buying ridiculously high heels. And I thought, I'm never going to wear high heels ever again.
Yeah.
No, none of the secondhand stores take high heels.
That's so bizarre.
Because women don't want to wear high heels.
It's gone.
Gone.
COVID.
I don't know. I don't know. We just need
the rise and rise of the
sneakers, flats, loafers.
Yeah.
Maybe a kitten heel at a push.
Yeah.
I've got one pair of high heels now that if I really have to, that's what I do.
It's so funny. I think it's the same thing for suits and dress shoes. Just don't wear them anymore. It's all about the loafer and the sneaker.
Yeah.
What do you do when you need to relax and sort of defrag from work?
I like small repetitive problem solving.
Okay.
Cryptic crossword, jigsaw puzzle, Wordle, Scrabble.
Yeah.
And I also like putting a history podcast in and doing a little light cleaning.
Okay.
AirPods in ears is like, is the do not disturb sign, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's like family don't talk to me. In fact, if you could just leave, that would be awesome. I'm just listening to, French Revolution and cleaning the kitchen bench.
Okay. What's your favourite thing to clean, actually?
Oh, I'm kitchen bench. I like a absolutely clean, pristine kitchen bench. So that's a constant. That's like a 25 times a day situation.
I'm all about the shower glass. Love cleaning shower glass.
Oh, can you come around to my house? Because we let ours get away from us.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Once you've let it get away from you, that's a hard one to come back from.
Have you ever
that was like a 2-month project for me.
Barkeeper's friend.
Yes.
Bunnings. Amazing.
Yes.
Changed
that's
my
what
life,
we ended up using.
Okay. When was the last time you had a really good, decent belly laugh?
Oh, yesterday. Michaela said something to me yesterday. No, I can't remember what it was. But it was really funny. Can't remember. Yeah. It was yesterday or the day before.
Okay. When did you last cry?
Took my daughter to Bridget Jones's Diary the other night.
Did you? Actually, I cried at that too.
We were no men in the cinema. And so I think it was like, how many seats in Silky Yacht? Like 24 seats maybe. All women blubbing, like communal blub, especially at the end. Spoiler alert if you've not seen Bridget Jones's Diary. At the end, when the dead Mr. Darcy inside the owl that watches over the family when he flies away. Oh, we were actually both sobbing, audibly sobbing.
What has been one of the happiest moments of your life?
I find happiness in every day. I mean, obviously, the wedding day, the birth of my child, obviously great days. But I think you can find happiness in every day and in every moment. I was very happy this morning walking through the park listening to the tui.
Yeah.
And very happy last night doing a few lengths in the pool with the crescent moon and the just popping up over the neighbour's roof and the fairy lights on.
You have to
it's
find
the small things that are actually where the happiness is. Getting Wordle in 3 this morning. Just saying.
Hey, well done. That's pretty good, actually.
The small things are where the happiness is.
You have to find it, though, don't you? Yeah. If you don't,
it's there. It's wide open. It's you just need to think about it.
Yeah. If you weren't in fashion, which is probably quite a hard ask to think about if you weren't in fashion now, because it's been going for quite a while. If you weren't in fashion, what else do you think you would have been led into?
I think it always would have been something around problem solving, storytelling, and creativity.
Okay.
Which leads into a lot of different areas and fields. Right now, I'm just so, all I want to listen to is history podcasts right now.
Really?
Because I'd stopped listening to the news on the day of the American election. And so I'm just like deep in history podcasts. And so if the Prime Minister made it illegal for me to do my job today and I had to find something else to do, I'd probably go, I want to be a history podcaster, even though I've never got a degree in history. I'll just make it up.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing to avoid the news, to be fair, because it is pretty grim listening to most of it these days. When you think about the typical Karen Walker customer, are they everything?
They're everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what they have in common is they just want an elevated everyday experience. They're taking the dog for a walk, but they want some nice sneakers.
Mm.
They're traveling, but they want a nice piece of cashmere to wear on the plane. That's everyday kind of things that most people do.
Yeah.
They just want it to be just that little bit, just give me a bit more fairy dust on it.
And has the Karen Walker customer changed over the years, or have they just grown and they've grown with you?
I feel like the ones who were there along
the early adopters
have grown with us.
Yeah.
And then new generations have come in with them. So now when I'm in the Newmarket store here every weekend, and the 3 or 4 or 5 weekends leading up to Christmas always. It's my thing. I love doing that because that's when I see the most. I mean, I'm in the stores all the time, but that's when I really go hard and I really get to see lots of our customers and continuously. So I find that's a really great way to get a sense, get a mood.
Yeah.
And it's really varied. It's kind of every age and stage, lots of different demographics coming from lots of different professions, lots of different places. Yes, of course, there's a commonality that you could find. But, I could be serving 12-year-old and then a 92-year-old.
Yeah.
And everybody in between.
That's really cool.
And that's a really nice place to be. And I think that probably speaks to your question about where is fashion at. It's not so much is it super conservative or super flamboyant. It's really what's interesting about fashion now is the age barriers, the generational barriers are less and less. That kind of that blurring. Like I remember when my grandmother was 80, probably 60, she looked about 1,000. Yeah. In terms of how she dressed, like there was just a look,
Yeah.
And now it's like an 80-year-old kind of dresses the same as a 20-year-old.
That's so true.
And there's that youthful energy, that youthful attitude that comes throughout.
I think that's like
that idea of like, oh, you're old, so now you're welcome to the, to this look. So it doesn't happen.
80 is the new 60. It's crazy how 80-year-olds are so youthful now. It's amazing. Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Not long. Oh, sorry. For me that is. Shopping at Karen Walker, you've managed to achieve an elevated experience for your customers. How have you done that, first of all? And second of all, when you're out shopping with other people's businesses, what do you look for an elevated experience?
Well, I think what we look for in our business is that elevated experience, that elevated every day in everything we do. When we do a window display, for instance, here in Newmarket with like window panes that are like 10 feet tall, it's not just a little bullshit little logo down here.
Yeah. It's
like huge.
Yeah.
Like literally elevated. Like they have to get the cherry picker out. When it's in store, what we aim, we don't get it right every time, but what we aim for is, we know the customer's name. We preempting their needs and their requirements. And with the product, it might be achieved by having just very rare product, like with all our partner brands, we're what they call top of the pyramid. So like with Adidas, for instance, we're getting product that only 60 stores in the world are offered. So you won't get it anywhere else in New Zealand. Same with Levi's. So you're getting special things that are rare and limited. But ultimately what it comes down to is our customers, we're not red carpet dressing. you know, we're serving ordinary people like us who just, when they walk the dog or do the school run or go to a meeting, I just sort of feel like they've got that bit of extra fun or fairy dust or superpower somehow. When they walk the dog, they want to have those cool sneakers that only 60 stores in the world got offered. And just be that bit more like, oh, I feel it. So that's really what we aim for, that feeling of I'm special, but I'm not sort of pouncing around silly high heels, doing all that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you might just be going to the grocery store, but you're still feeling great.
Yeah. So when you think back to like 1993, you're opening a store at the corner of Nuffield and Barm Street in a really non-retail street, 'cause it wasn't really retail focused at all. Was that your deliberate intention from the get-go to provide something which was unique and different and elevated compared to everybody else?
That, and I guess we've never run with the crowd. Like we cater to ordinary people in an elevated way, but we've never done it by being on the main strip. We've never been a mall brand.
Yeah.
And that's not to say there aren't great brands in malls. You've got Balenciaga in a mall right down there. That's a pretty bloody good brand.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's not generic.
Yeah.
There's actually always some genuine creativity and thought and energy going on behind it. Nothing generated by our company is sort of cookie cutter out of a boardroom.
Yeah. So the last few years have been a bit of a roller coaster ride in New Zealand. We've had, COVID, which went on a bit longer than we may have anticipated at the time. We had the economic crisis of the last 18 months or so, inflationary pressures, etc. What's your take on the retail landscape in New Zealand at the moment?
Yeah, well, thanks for giving me post-traumatic stress over the last 5 years. When you listed all like that, it's like, oh my God, that was a tough 5 years. Yeah. I've been in business, would you say 89? I started, so it's at 36, 37 years. I think this is my 8th recession, this one we've just had. They're all different.
Yeah.
I'm due a boom, and the booms are all different. Nothing's the same. Nothing is a rinse and repeat in business or in life, I guess.
Yeah.
The last 12 months, when you just need to walk down the main street, any suburb or town in New Zealand, possibly the world, to see that it's a bit scarred. And I guess that's partly people shopping in a different way. Warehouses might be booming, distribution centres for brands, I mean. But also it might be people are holding back a little bit, which is perfectly sensible. And if you're holding back a little bit, it probably is going to be on that 4th pair of sneakers that you want to buy for the year. That's totally understandable. But nothing's forever. And I think everybody started to feel the green shoots around sort of September, October last year in retail.
Yeah.
And this year's tracking pretty well. So maybe we're off for another little green spot.
Let's hope so. So you have exposure to markets all over the world. How's New Zealand tracking from your view of things?
I think we're doing okay compared to other places. Certainly not the best, not the worst. And our nearest neighbours across the Tasman have obviously got a huge supply of things they can pull out of the ground, which we don't have to the same capacity. So there's always that. But I think we're doing okay. And I think the basis we're coming from, which is a uncorrupt liberal democracy, I'm very grateful for. I'm very grateful to live here in a country that, of course, isn't perfect, but where is, but where I know I can trust the infrastructure and the governance and my fellow citizens and feel safe and secure and like I can do business here without concerns. And I think that when you look, I think we're possibly a bit sheltered as New Zealanders. We forget actually how good we've got it. We're the 2nd or 3rd least corrupt country in the world. And I really value that, especially looking at my husband's homeland, Ukraine, which is under, having a genocide unleashed upon it again.
And when you see what's going on geopolitically, the world is like, it feels like
That's why I stopped listening to the news in November.
I get it. I really get it. Yeah.
Just too distressing.
Grim. And the sad thing is now, though, you can avoid broadcast news, but it's been thrown at you through social media from every which way, you know.
Not if you only look at footage of German shepherds and guinea pigs. You need to reset your algorithms.
we had a guinea pig in the office last week, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
How come?
My assistant
For the
PA,
dog, did you?
and it's the same colour as my dog. It looked like a wig, actually. But
oh my God, toupee. Spaniel toupee. Amazing.
What has been one of your pinch me moments over the last sort of 30-odd years in business?
There have been so many. It's kind of like finding happiness. Like it's there and every day. You know, a pinch me moment is when the store hits target. It's always good. Or when you create a great piece of content or get some fantastic feedback from a post. But there've also been bigger ones. Like we showed New York Fashion Week 20 seasons, and our first season, Kathy Horan reviewed us, and it was on page A1 of the New York Times. That was kind of
pretty amazing.
That was pinch me, a photo and a welcome to New York or something. And collaborating with my good friend Mama Takua and the rest of the Cook Islands creative mamas and making a beautiful dress and presenting that to Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah,
that was amazing. That was amazing.
These are not normal pinch me moments.
They're not normal. No, they're not normal pinch me moments at all. I totally get that.
Yeah,
and there've been many more. I save it for the book, which will never be written, by the way. But
do a podcast. Karen Walker
walks down memory lane, her own memory lane. Like, fascinating. And you know what? Being in business 37 years later, building a business and a brand, and heading up to our 40th, I do not take that for granted.
It's pretty
Not
impressive.
everybody gets there.
In retail, it's impressive, I think. Yeah, it's tough.
But also, building, even if it's just for a minute, having a business and a brand next to each other. Lots of people have brands and no business, and lots of people have business with no brand.
That's so true.
And the two together, that's not an easy trick to get out.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of what a rare thing that is.
Do you have any regrets?
Millions. Who wouldn't want to just go, this was just the test run. Let's do what we do at the podcast and go back and redo that question and cut out the fluff. Who wouldn't want that? My God, there'd be so much I'd change. But I can't. And you just go, okay, well, I learned from it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you get it right 8 times out of 10, it's still a pass.
That's so true. Doesn't have to be perfect.
It's never going to be. Don't chase perfect.
Yeah.
You'll be very unhappy, boy. You're chasing perfect.
Chase
8 out of 10.
I gave up perfect a long time ago. Yeah. What are some of the things on your bucket list that you really want to achieve while you're still on this planet?
The bucket list keeps getting longer and the runway keeps getting shorter.
Yeah.
This is the problem. So this is where the prioritizing comes in. I'm about to tick something off my bucket list next month. I'm going to the UK to celebrate with my brother his 60th birthday.
Yeah.
And then we're going on an ancestry walk to discover where our Viking ancestors walked.
Brilliant.
We're going to Sweden. We're going to see where my blue eyes came from.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always wanted to do.
That's so cool.
Walk through my Viking ancestors' footsteps. So that's tick.
Yeah.
I need 20 million more to go.
Oh, wow. Time is always the thing, isn't it? Where is your favourite place to be in the world?
Our beautiful Waitemata. It's pretty good. Pretty good. We're very lucky as Aucklanders to have that.
Yeah.
And when I'm travelling and I'm somewhere that doesn't have a coast, I always feel a little bit tetchy. Can't understand how people can live in cities without a coast, because it's just so good for your heart and your soul.
Do you know what?
My favourite thing is going down to our waterfront.
That is such a New Zealand thing, though. I think New Zealanders really get a sense of that. You've got to be near a coast at some stage.
Summer holidays, we usually go to Barrier and when the rest of the year, the summer, we're just enjoying like the sea's just down the road. I'm loving this the new sea pool they've formalised down by the
amazing.
Park Hyatt. We're going there once a week. It's fantastic.
That's fantastic, yeah.
And the new park they're building around there, I'm super excited about. But just Minnehaha Beach or Sentinel Bay.
What's next for you personally?
chasing down my Viking ancestors. And, well, I've already done today's word also, the rest of the day is just a walk in the park. So, I'm happy doing continuing to do what I'm doing.
Okay.
But maybe a bit more travel, maybe a little bit more time away from my desk and exploring the world.
Travel is everything, I think. It's 7:30 p.m. on a Friday evening. Where are you and what are you doing?
The dog's been walked. Dinner's been eaten at one of our local Japanese places.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 places near us in Ponsonby that we love, and it'll be one of those on a Friday night. The shower's been had. The pajamas are on. We're probably settling in on the couch for a 3-hour stint of Netflix.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it's funny how that happens, doesn't it? In life, sort of things you say, oh my God, I'm not going out. Whatever. Yeah. Now,
There's 6 o'clock sitting for us.
Oh God, really? Early dinner, early to bed. Love that. What's TV?
Yeah.
What's on Netflix? What are we watching?
Actually, we're on a program on Disney at the moment, which it's not the greatest show ever made. And by the greatest show ever made, I mean The Sopranos. There's no arguing on that. If Sopranos is 10, The Americans on Disney's probably a solid 6.
Okay.
But it's good enough that we're committed now and we need to see the end of it.
So for you, a 6 is that's quite a high
6 is a part. The
Okay.
6 is a carrying on.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
If it gets below 5, then
You're out.
yeah.
I'm done. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty brutal with things like very short.
Yeah.
No, gotta go.
If it doesn't get you in the first 20 minutes.
There's too much. There's too much, Joyce. I remember when we interviewed you in the Newmarket magazine a long time ago when we first started the magazine, which is going back quite a few years now. You said have a point of view or go home, and that really resonated with me. And it's something I've said to so many people I've spoken to in the retail space that stand for something or don't. Because if you
there's
don't,
lots of people making white T-shirts.
yeah, really are.
Yeah.
I think in the retail space now, for survival and to thrive,
Yeah.
you've got to have a point of view. You've got to stand out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because they don't need you. There's lots of people, there's lots of other places your customer can go to buy a white T-shirt, let's say.
Yeah.
So you've got to make it special somehow. If you get it right, the customer walks away feeling valued, seen, special, and by putting that product on them as well, feeling like that.
If somebody young and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed wandered into number 6 Barm Street and you happened to be there and they said, hey, I want to be the next Karen Walker, what advice would you give them?
I don't know if I could give them any advice that's actually relevant.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's like starting a business now. I've got a business and a brand. Starting it now, it's like a totally different thing. I wouldn't have a clue. But I think probably something that's universal, that stretches across all time and space, is that you have to have a point of view. You have to know your point of view. Ideally, it's different to somebody else's point of view.
Yeah.
And you have to be very clear on it. And also be like have no plan B. And don't do it just because, daddy's said I'll fund you into a business and you'll do it till it gets hard or, whatever. There's a lot of different, like it's just a bit of fun until something better comes along. Like don't waste our time and our energy. Do it fully or step out of the way and let somebody else do it fully. You know what I mean?
Go big or go home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen Walker has been on the corner of Nuffield and Barm Street for, 32 or more years. You would be one of the longest serving retail businesses in the same location that Newmarket's had.
How did that happen?
How did that happen?
It feels like just yesterday.
Yeah. Could you
Honestly,
imagine?
it just feels like yesterday. It's unbelievable. Who's been here? Who's been in the same location in Newmarket longer than that in retail?
I would have to think long and hard about that if anybody else has. I know we did have Smith & Co. there for a very long time.
Yep.
Of course, they're not there now.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well, I think you need to run a
I need
poll
to.
or
I need
something.
to call Di Goldsworthy actually, because she'll know the
She would
answer.
know. She would know.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody who's been here in the same location as long as that. So we did make the right choice.
Some quick fire things to finish off with. Who's your favourite band of all time?
All time. Pulp.
Okay.
Followed by the Beatles.
Mm-hmm. What's your favourite book?
Oh, I don't have a favourite book, but I'm telling you, I'm loving the book I'm reading at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is good because it's 850 pages long.
Oh, God. War
I
and Peace.
started it. No, still haven't got to that one. Have got it, but I haven't opened it. I started it at Christmas, and I think I'll be finished by about September. I'm reading The Diary of Samuel Pepys.
Okay.
And I'm up, and so he kept his diary for 10 years. It's fantastic. It's interesting and beautifully written and really drop dead funny.
Yeah.
And vast and also minute. So you can see why 400 years later, or however long it's been, it's still considered one of the greatest pieces of writing. And it's brilliantly funny and clever. I'm loving it, and I'm up to April 1664 at the moment.
Wow. When do you read?
Before I go to bed.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Half an hour each night before I go to sleep.
What's your favourite movie?
My daughter's trying to get me onto Letterboxd. Do you do Letterboxd?
No.
Where you track record for, I don't know, for who to see, but you track what movies you've seen. I guess it extends to TV shows and books.
God, I need to know
and you
about
rate
this.
it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I would have been all over that in 1975, but it's a bit late in the day. That horse is bolted. But then I'm thinking, but maybe I could remember every movie I've seen over the last 50-something years.
It's not a big ask at all. Yeah.
So let's assume Letterboxd had existed my entire life and I had been recording every movie I'd ever seen, probably the one that I would have seen the most would be Goodfellas.
Okay.
Like that is the perfect movie.
Yeah.
It is faultless.
Yeah.
And if I were to, back in the old days when you turn on the TV in a hotel room, like before they all had Netflix or like Samsung smart TVs and all of that, and you could just put in your own Netflix account. If I turned on a TV in a hotel room and that was on, everything else would have stopped. Okay. I just would have sat down like, oh, Goodfellas is on, I can't move.
Yeah, we won't be coming down. Meetings. Won't be coming down for New York Fashion Week.
Good, exactly.
We're
going to have to reschedule the show.
Sorry, we'll be back next year. Yeah. So, what's your favourite time of the week?
Saturday morning.
Oh, me too. Why?
All things going well. It's just a pottering day. You've got the whole day in front of you. I mean, it's not always like this, but ideally it's like the whole day in front of you. It's just a bit of dog walk, a bit of gentle cleaning. Maybe I walked the half marathon last November, so maybe it's a good 3-hour training walk for that, and hopefully something nice to look forward to in the evening, a nice dinner out or something. So it's like a happy day, and then you get into Sunday. It's like, oh, I should clear 600 emails before I show up at work on Monday. Get ahead of it.
What's your favourite season?
Oh, summer.
Summer, yeah. Mm-hmm. And cats or dogs?
But yes.
Dogs. Yeah.
Dogs.
And,
okay,
and you like cats,
no,
though?
Actually,
you do like cats,
if, well, you asking me to do Sophie's Choice for my cat and my dog.
Yeah. No, I won't do that.
Well, they'll both be listening. I don't want to upset anybody.
No, actually, no, true. I mean, I'm a total dog person. 32 years ago, young Karen Walker was given a key, and she put the key into the lock at number 6 Barm Street and opened that door for the first time. I know it's quite a while ago, but do you remember that feeling, think, this is mine?
It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was exciting and fun, and stepping into the unknown is a good feeling.
And could you ever have imagined that it would become what it is now?
God, no. It's come with as a result of hard work and luck and good people and some talent and some good ideas and some not good ideas. And, it's just that sort of rich concoction, like baking a cake. You just put all these different things together and it comes out, or it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
But it's always exciting. It's been very good to us. It's been very good to us. I've been coming here my entire life, and I've had my business working out of here for its entire life. And it continues to thrive and surprise and delight and change and reinvent itself. But it's always been a hub, Newmarket. That's why it's so special. It's always been this sort of meeting point for so many parts of Auckland that just come together so naturally here. And it's always been energetic, and it's looking fantastic.
Before we go, check out the new arcade which recently opened at Gravity X in Railway Street. Gravity X is New Zealand's only indoor skiing and surf centre. Plus, coming up in April is the latest issue of Newmarket magazine celebrating autumn and winter fashion. And finally, please join us on Friday the 25th of April for our Anzac Day commemorations. See you next month. Cheers.